Welcome back, Crucifit Nation, and welcome to part 2 of our story with Damien Mullen, lifelong friend and great story. Thank you for all the feedback. It's been really touching. We saw a ton of comments on this one, shared across a few platforms, and Damo's story and his journey with PTSD has really touched a lot of people and had a lot of impact. And part 2, thanks for joining in. We're going to go into his redemption curve and then coming out of that space and into a new life with God. So thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoy.
I just started thinking, how are we here? Like there's got to be more to all this story. We can't just be, like so different to all animals. We can't, like what sort of other species are on so many antidepressants and like, like it's, like just sort of asking the big questions. And I don't know if it was just time that like God's like, right, you've got to start asking these questions now, or it was because I was coming up to a milestone of nearly 40 years old that you sort of like take stock of like what's happening in life. And, but so yeah, so we Ashley and I we would have conversations on the couch of a night time, and I would ask questions as to like, well, how is it that all these, like if Christianity is the way, isn't it unfair that all these like Muslims, well, they were born in a, predominantly Muslim country and they, like there's billions and, like it's not their fault that they didn't come to Christianity and like all these reasons why Christianity isn't just the only way. So it's like, well, maybe there's other gods or I never knew much about anything. So I was just asking questions and actually had the patience to like answer in a way that I would still be able to explore the answers, like not coming across like, oh,
Yeah, she's
you're
not preaching and bashing.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She knew to, right, just give her version and just be like, she was steadfast. She's like, no, I know it's true because I know, like, we're together because I believe in God. Like, we're not together if I don't believe in God. I'm believing you a long time ago. Um, and like, she's steadfast in that, but like you said, like not preachy. And then I'm the sort of person, probably maybe similar to you, but I don't come across, I didn't come across the faith through like an emotional way. It was very much an intellectual way. Like I had to like start researching like the science and all this stuff.
Mhm.
I try to fool myself. I'm not even smart. but like the more you watch, you're like, everyone's got faith. It's just what do you have faith in? And like you need more
Yeah.
faith to believe that the Big Bang happened.
Right.
And like,
Yeah, it's Crystal's favorite.
yeah, but
That it's an accident.
Yeah, to
yeah,
believe
just
this is
everything's
an
an accident.
accident takes a lot of faith.
Well, and
Because
then like,
it would be a denial of all the things you've felt and seen through your entire life. You have to deny all that to pretend this is all an accident.
yeah, and like, well, if it's evolution and we started, like we've come through from apes or whatever, like where's the half apes? The half person, like, well, I don't know, like it,
I get so many bad jokes. We'll move on.
yeah, well, yeah, that's true. And so like I said, I had to come through the intellectual path, and it still did take a few months. It's sort of like my eyes, they were still shut, and I didn't have the light and any vision whatsoever.
Had you read any scripture at this point?
No, no, hadn't opened the Bible. I didn't know what was inside a Bible.
Same.
Yeah, didn't know anything. Didn't know there was an Old Testament and New Testament. What I did, I think I watched YouTube clips, was the first thing I did was, and because Ashley would point me to some of them, and I think even maybe a podcast, a couple of podcasts maybe. Um, what book? I think More Than a Carpenter was a book that she pointed me to. Um, but yeah, I think I would watch podcasts and then I would reflect and take time to think about what I watched, and then I had more questions. And it wasn't until I, so some of Ashley's friends from church, fantastic people. They would. I'll back it up a little bit. When we were in Victoria in Melbourne, in Warragul, and I was going through I was in peak PTSD form. Ashley would be going to church with the kids, and she, I think I was away at football training one time, and she had the church, everyone at the, or some people at the church come to our house and pray in our room.
Mm.
And like, this is the sort of faith she had. And to have that faith and to keep going, that's some sort of faith. Like, that's some strength right there. So God was working. I just didn't know it because I didn't have my eyes open at all.
That's the other favorite one.
Yeah, that is one of my favorites. So he's writing our stories, whether we believe in him or not. So that's
100%. And all this, I was oblivious to all this because I'm in a drug, like a prescription drug. I was a zombie. You know what was going on. And so we had that. And then when we were here, she would go to Connect Group as well. And part of that, they would pray and they would ask requests of like the prayers. And I believe like she was also praying that I would come to faith, understanding like our kids by this stage, like, well, right now they're 20 and 17 years old.
That's
so
wild.
at this time, a few years ago, my daughter's late teens, my son's early teens, and they're starting to stop. They're stopping going to church. Like, they're old enough to sort of make up their own mind. So that now it's just Ashley going to church, and she understands that I need to be going as well as the father of the house, to help bring the kids along. As she understood that, and she understood it from the very beginning. And so the friends that she had from church, they were praying, and I got an invite to. It was a Sunday night. They had men's group that day, like some sort of person, some person came out, maybe from the States, I don't know, and did a whole men's day at the church. It was meant to be really good. I got an invite to that, I believe, but I said no because I had something on. But he goes, come to the house afterwards. We're having a few men there, and we're just going to discuss what happened that day. And I'm putting on some food, and I didn't have a reason to say no. So I said yes. And that night I went there, and being around those men, like, my eyes were still closed, but they were opening. And I sat there listening, and I was like, wow, this is incredible what they're saying. And it resonated. But I still put some of what they were saying back into that self-help stuff that you'd learn. Like, that's what I went into the self-help to get better, but that only takes you so far. It really is. It's limiting.
Right.
It did help.
It does.
It did. And it did help. It 100% helped, but it's very limiting to how much it can help you. And like, they're talking about some of what, they're from the scriptures, and I'm like, well, like James Clear would say that, or like, I'd just pull out stuff that I've learned from the self-help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I think they were like, especially like Ashley's close friends, I'm thinking it must have been like, what's he doing? He's not getting this. He's only half understanding what we're saying. So
They're like, yeah,
Oh,
they're sitting in a position that I feel I am now when I'm on Instagram. And we talked about this week, but I see people on Instagram and I just want to reach out and be like, you're so close. Like, you're so close, but you're missing the major step. Like, I see people doing ecstatic dance to feel better. I'm like, I get it. You feel better. You feel
mm,
better in the moment, but you're one step away from what is truly feeling better and actually understanding that the dance, which is so helpful, is actually just that's the fruit of the spirit coming through you. It's
yep.
not the answer. The answer is in there. That's the fruit. Like if you could just understand that there's a tree and that fruit's just part of that, I I can just see myself being with you, like with your James Nestor and Clear and all these guys. Well, what about breathing practices?
Yeah.
Oh, I read that book. Neither here
Yeah.
nor
And
there, but I
so
did.
I went there and then after that, actually, I don't know if I'm assuming it's in America as well. The church has an alpha course. Do you guys like that? It's like a 6 week or 7 week course. It's really good. So it's for beginners or it's for people that are questioning about the
Mm,
faith. It
it's a good
started
idea.
by, yeah, it started by Pippa and Nikki Gumbel. They do like the Bible in the Year app as well. He's
Oh,
really good,
Yeah.
Nikki
yeah, I
Gumbel.
know who that lady is.
Well, I just heard somebody talk about that on today. I don't know where. I've never heard the name Gumball until today, and now I've heard it twice.
Well, he's really good, Nikki Gumbel. And the way he explains it, so he's a lawyer, family of lawyers, and but he just comes at it like he's not preachy either. And you go there, you're with you know like a reasonably small group, and was every at this church it was every Tuesday night for 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was, and you go there, you'll have a meal, then you watch um like the alpha course on TV on the TVs, and then you discuss it in your groups, and what do you think of God, and when like all these basic questions. And then you do like the Alpha Day, which is a Saturday, and that's powerful. That's like you go there and there's a few activities, and at the end they do worship music and they pray for you. So I said to Ashley, she asked me to come and attend the course, and she'll come and she'll do it with me. And I was like, look, I've got nothing else. We've had a lot of these discussions. I owe it to you as well to attend.
Mm,
So I did. I went to the first Tuesday night session, and I then which was good. And then I attended so I went the Sunday night to the friend's house, the men's gathering. Then the following Sunday, I went to my first service, but I was booked in for that Tuesday night to start Alpha. Well, that first service, I can't remember what was preached, but I remember it hit me like bricks. And um, it felt like, and which a lot of people feel the same way when they go for the first time. It's like they was speaking to you.
hmm
Mhm.
Just, I reckon if I look back on it and listen to it again, they're probably like, this had nothing to do with my situation, but it was God talking to me. And I, I try not to show emotion outwardly in public places or anything like, because, yeah, I should. But I sort of held back, but I was borderline crying. And I didn't really understand much, but you felt the presence. I didn't know it was
hmm
the Holy Spirit, but I felt something. And I went on the Tuesday night, and then I think I bought a Bible. And then they said what they say to every new person: start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah.
So, um, and I think for the first few services that I attended, I I felt a lot of emotion. And do they do it at your church where at the end of the service they'll be like, you know, eyes closed, head down, if you want to be prayed for, put your hand up, or if you want to give your life to God. And, well, they do that the church here, and I was still too proud to put my
Yeah.
hand up and and give my life to God in a public way. I did inside, but I couldn't bring myself to put my hand up, and it's just once again it's pride coming out. And it was funny because on the first service, Ashley's next to me. I think the whole time, like when you bring someone to church, you're like always looking over.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Look
the
at
church
that got
doesn't do
in.
anything weird. Yeah, hopefully they're just like it's a normal service. Don't do anything different. And I think the whole time because
Don't talk about money. Don't talk about money. Don't talk about money.
100%. And because you've obviously heard a lot of our story. Ashley's been a Christian for years, and you can understand her point of view. But I've finally come to church for the first time when, like, we'd been together for over 20 years and gone through all this stuff. So she's like, when it got to the altar call at the end of the service, I didn't raise my hand. And I think she was disappointed after the service. Like, it was like that emotional, like, oh, he hasn't given himself to God. But unbeknownst
But
to
you
her,
had.
I had,
Yeah.
I had that feeling. I didn't understand it, but I had. And so I attended church a few times after that and still going to the Alpha course. And once again, pride just kept getting in the way. So we got to the Alpha day and it was powerful. And we had the worship music, and one of the blokes that was helping out with the Alpha day, he was also like he's a younger bloke who's like sort of our age, sort of well, not young anymore, so like mid age, and so similar age. He also works out, goes to the gym a lot. He does some boxing. Just a great guy, and we struck up a bit of a connection. And he came to me straight away and was like, "Can I pray for you?" And my pride was like, and so PTSD and pride. He came to me first, which I think was the mistake because with PTSD, you want to know everything. You don't want to be first up. Everything's just, I want things structured, and I didn't understand things. And I feel guilty to this day. So I said no. And I think he looks, he's like, oh, and then went to the next person. And like, I nearly broke down in tears, like during the prayer, because everyone sort of gets prayed for, and there's a fair few people there, and I've just said no, and and then, but I understood, like I said, I'd given my life to God, and and we we finished the service. I went home. I was gutted, but I think at that time things were starting to happen. Like I got told, like once you become a Christian, like things are gonna get hard before they get better. And I think I was once again sort of brought to my knees in the private times. Like I would be borderline tears, like just things had to come up from that was sort of shoved right down. And I think that's where I really felt the Holy Spirit start to do the work in me. And you can't help but be changed after that because like you start to look at sin in a different way. Like it's like, everyone's always sinning, but it when it starts like meaning something to you and
Yeah.
like I stopped swearing. I had stopped drinking alcohol about a year before I started going to church. So that wasn't an issue at all, but I could no doubt. I believe I probably would have quit drinking or greatly reduced my drinking anyway. But it just, I can't even listen to normal music. I listen to
Mhm.
worship music, and that's
It's
it.
funny how everyone says the same thing.
it just changes you every day. You're like slowly changing. I remember going for a
Yeah.
walk one time on my own in nature, and I just felt this overwhelming warmth and like just happiness. And I just wanted to, smile at people. And I get home and I told Ashley, and she's like, "That's the Holy Spirit." Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it was
He's moving.
incredible. But then that didn't end. So like my pride, and it's still a huge issue. At that stage I had a lawn mowing business. Like I just worked for myself, but I was too proud to like say what I did. It's like, oh, just what do you do for a job? Oh, I'm lawn mowing lawns. Um, and it still had my identity tied up in my occupation. Well, I went from that, and I'm like, oh, I was a good police officer back in the day, and I did have all these experiences. How about I,
Yeah, like qualifications.
yeah, how about I start, working in some government office job, maybe even I was actually thinking about joining the police force again, and I don't think they'd take me, but I thought, maybe I'll give it a shot. So I was applying for jobs, and I was in the police force for over a decade, did a lot of stuff. I was good at my job. I'm applying for part-time jobs, and I was getting no interviews. I was like, and within the police force too. So I was applying for civilian jobs in the police force, level 2 jobs, level 3 jobs, I think, which is, like it starts at level 1. So you can understand I'm going against people that have never been in the police force, probably straight out of school, and I'm maybe getting an interview but not getting the job. And it allowed pride to really sink its teeth in me too. So I would get home and I'd be so angry. I'd be like, oh, once again, like how can they not see, how good I am at, was at policing and all this sort of stuff, and how dare they not give me a position, and this isn't fair. And I I got angry again for like a lot, like for probably a 6-month period, because it took about 6 months to get a job, and I finally got a job as a level 2 like admin type role in the police force as a civilian, and I didn't even get the position. I was put in the pool. They picked the top person, which this lady got in before me, and she'd never been in the police force. She was a level 1 admin before, like that was her history, employment history. And it just so happened to be another person quit in the area. So I got the job straight after her as well. So I'm sitting next to her and I'm like, oh, so what have you done before this? And she's telling me, and I'm like, how can you be employed over, like over a decade of policing in remote? So once again, pride's just creeping in like really bad. And I'm working this job and I'm like, I'm too good for this. Like, it was bad. And I but what it did is like, once again, God just works in mysterious ways. Like what it did for me is I worked near a church, and like a beautiful Lutheran church. So I'd spend my lunch breaks um at the church praying on my own,
Hmm.
and just praying for like strength to overcome pride, overcome like forcing stuff as well. Like I just assumed if you want something, work hard. Just if you're not getting it, work harder, and that you're in control of what's happening with your life. And what this whole process taught me was you're not in control of nothing. God's in control, and God, like, what you need is strength to trust the
Mhm.
process and what God's got for your life. And it was like 6 to 8 months in the end. Oh, would have been nearly a year all up process, and I'm a slow learner to understand what it actually means to become a Christian and trusting and putting faith in God. I ended up quitting that job because I couldn't handle it. Just
The
yeah,
tasks.
just meaningless task. And so I've gone back to running my own lawnmower business. But what's changed is like when someone asks me, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm more than happy to say, "Oh, just I've got my lawnmower business," because my identity is no longer tied up in that.
Mm.
And also we got all of us got baptized on Easter, and that was another thing where it was difficult to put that out in public because
Mm-hmm.
it's pride gets in the way of doing that.
Yeah.
I think.
I
But
mean,
then
I had
since
that
then, I've had
experience
people
too.
come up and ask me about. Well, here's a lot of people have come up and asked me about my faith because they've seen it. Posted it on socials, and it's incredible that like by going out in public, it really does it reaches others, and like so you're sort of planting seed and starting to work for others as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, we're in the same boat. I mean, I didn't ever anticipate doing a podcast talking about Christ, but once God had said, this is what you're doing, and I, at that point, had given up trying to do it my way because my way wasn't working. Obedience kind of leads to this.
Yeah. And that was just our era. Like we were all taught like it's yeah, you make of life of what yeah, it's so anti like what we should be doing, how we were
Yeah.
a lot of our age group and were raised. It's just sort of like I think our age group have sort of fallen in a weird spot where I think like people older they were raised a lot more raised Christian
Mm.
in Christian households, or church was the thing that like a lot of people did do. And then for a while, I don't know if it was because life become easy and people have moved away. They haven't had to trust in God. They've like things are working out for us, so we're going to move away. I don't know why. There's that real long bracket of like not faith wasn't such a big part, and now the revival's coming back
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
COVID,
It's
I think,
really,
bring that out. It definitely bring it out of me.
yes. I think you're absolutely right on that, on COVID. I just think I want to mention for anyone listening, like the what I see is such an amazing story here because so and that you guys can correct me, but I remember Aaron saying a few months ago, maybe when we first started the podcast or something, you guys had a text thread that you were on that kind of came back out of nowhere. And Aaron said something about faith, and that encouraged you to say something about finding Christianity and being a Christian. And then in this weird first full circle moment, all three of us got baptized on Easter.
Mm.
And it was
It
not
was
like God told me 2 weeks before Easter. He's like, "You're getting baptized on Easter here in church." I'm like, "That's not happening. That's embarrassing. I'm not doing that. That's not anything I have any interest in doing. I'm not going to be wet in front of hundreds of people." Like, no. And he just laughed. I was like, "No, you are." And then I think, Aaron, at that point, did you know Damien was getting baptized?
Yeah. I knew you two were getting baptized the same day.
And then you had no plans on getting
No.
baptized on Easter until what, 2 days before?
Yeah, Easter Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And
and you
so,
guys do it different too. Like so, I
Yeah.
got to watch both kids get baptized at home. So we obviously the day difference. We so when like Aaron said, like I was getting baptized on Easter, and that was a while out. So we sort of booked it in. That's when the church was doing it,
mm-hmm.
and our church that we go to now. So um, it's it's an easier process to do than what you guys have to do. Like so, we like just So I think there was 8 at the time at the service that I was in. They just have a bit of a bath, and you go in, and they don't talk much about you. You don't have to talk at all. Like, it's just the nerves come from like doing it in public, and you've got people that you know around. But
Yeah.
we, Ashley and I sat down and had a coffee in the morning and watched both of your baptisms
Aw.
online. But there was the way it was. So I could find yours, Crystal, because yours I think was in the main upload,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, where's Aaron's? And so I messaged him, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't find yours. And then he sent me one back with the link. And then so we got to watch both of your baptisms. And then you guys had to actually read something out, which that's courage. Like that. Oof.
That's something.
Well, it was God, because I had no intention on doing it in the service. So every year our church does a big baptism day at a ranch where we live, and you get baptized in the river. And I had thought, if I'm going to do it, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do.
Zero interest in getting in a bathtub in a room full of people. And that Sunday, God said, no, you're doing it. And so before the service was over, I went up and talked to the pastor and said, hey, can I get baptized on Easter? And then he got really emotional because, I've been through a lot with him this past year. I've had a pretty rough year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And the first day I had gone back to church since being a kid was Easter a year before anyway. So he got so excited. And then I think he kind of ended up building the sermon around that. So it added a little bit extra pressure to like make it good, or not good, but really take that 2 minutes to convey everything down into 2 minutes was hard. And I had so much pride around it. I mean, Aaron knows. I'm like, what do you wear? I don't like the way my hair looks when it dries. I'm not standing there in front of, and have all these excuses. And finally, just like, I don't know, I guess I'm doing it.
It's incredible. And your pastor, he's incredible as well. Like we've got,
He's great.
Yeah.
like our pastor at our church, they're sort of, I reckon they're sort of similar. In a way, like both incredible at what they do. That like obviously that's their gift, and they're using it. But when he interviewed you both, the questions he asked, like you don't hear those, like they were incredible. Like a couple of weeks ago when he was talking, and then his story, and I think he only shared a tiny bit of that in your podcast. So I believe, did he say that he shared his story on the Easter before at a service?
Yeah, so you wouldn't have been there, but he did. And he shared it a couple of times. Like he's been through a divorce, and how, especially as someone who grew up in the church and then was a pastor, to go through that was really like earth shattering for him.
Mm.
And so, he and I can relate on that, and he's amazing. And, because he knows Aaron and I fairly well, and I've actually known him since our oldest are 13, since they were like just a couple months old. I've known him so long before I started going to the church. So it's just really sweet because those questions he asked, at least for me, were built on knowing me the past 13 years and watching my life from afar. And like, he's amazing. That's all. Yeah.
Oh, you can see it. Like we've watched a couple of services through the app, because I wish he had podcasts, because it'd be just easier for me to download and listen to while I'm working. But they, we've listened to a couple, and Ash and I, like we just, both. It's incredible when you hear the word from incredible people that like it's straight from the Bible. Like they're not making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
They're
you
not trying
just
to interpret it to fit their narrative.
Yeah. And he's one of those. He sounds incredible. And we've got like Pastor Mike at our church. And it's interesting how, like when you have something in common with the pastor and you can relate. Like I know Pastor Mike, he shared a bit of his story that I've heard, and he actually had a younger brother pass away as well when he was young. That was through drowning, I believe, but I haven't spoken to him one-on-one much, but yet, hopefully going to play some golf with him in a couple of weeks' time. It's nice to be able to like have that connection and something in common, and like they're great mentors as well, aren't they? Like teach you a lot.
So going back to your baptism, you were talking. It's a couple of years you go into the church and you've surrendered to Christ, but externally not. What, if anything, changed once you come up out of the water?
I don't. It's a hard one. Maybe I anticipated a lot of change when I came out of the water, and then when like relief, probably like the stress of it all was like a bit of relief. But I don't know. Like I just not a heap has changed then and there. But then, like I said, like since then, I've had people come up and want to talk about it. Like I had yesterday, and a mate of mine come up and it was at the football, and it was like I was coaching and I'm walking from like one spot to another, and he came out of his way to go, "Oh, you know, my brother, he lives in America right now, or Canada, or he's living somewhere overseas," and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's had a dream about, or he had either a dream or maybe even psychedelics or something, and he had a vision of Jesus, and now he's turned to faith, and like, you know, like it's incredible." And I don't know if he goes to church, but for him to bring that up, and he's like, "Oh, you know, my brother said to me that I'm fine now because he prayed for me, and like it's really good. My brother's like a completely different person," and that never would have happened.
No, because now you're public about it. People know, and they want to talk. And if they're curious, it's something I like to think about and talk about often. Is I just want to be the person that when somebody's curious, they'll come to me and ask.
Yeah. Yeah. But even yesterday, I went to the gym in the morning. I'm in the sauna, and this lady's in there, and she's got a cross, and you don't know these days because that is actually in fashion. So some people have the cross, and they're not going to churches. Necklaces with crosses are in fashion. So I asked her if she goes to church, and we struck up a bit of a conversation, and she's like, "Yeah, her and her partner go to church. We're still trying to find a church, but we're going to this one at the moment." And I'm like, we're having a conversation with other people in the sauna about going to church and a service, and it's incredible. Like, and you don't know what that does. Like that, you know, like they're not going to tell you. The other people in the sauna's not going to tell you like what that conversation means for them, but they could be a sign that someone else has mentioned something about going to church, and it's like, "Oh, geez, I heard it again in the sauna of all places, at the gym in the sauna." And if you know anything about like the area that I live in, and no one talks about church. Like it's not the Bible Belt. It's not like an outgoing, Christianity is not outgoing conversation around here. Although we did get over 800 people were baptized in the.
I saw that.
Yeah, in the Swan River, or I don't know where they got done, but that's incredible.
Yeah,
and the movement's real. It's happening.
There's a movement
younger
for
men.
sure. Yeah, you can see it in Australia, which is good. It's like the way I think about it is I think they just needed somebody to break through the noise. And once a few people broke through that noise, like people were just waiting on the sidelines, ready to pounce. And as soon as a few people broke through, they just jumped in, and they're like, "I've been waiting for this moment."
Well, part of that progression for me, like, yes, it was around sort of being 40 years old, and I was starting to ask some questions, but a lot of people through COVID, like, you know, your eyes started opening. Yeah, the eyes were opening up during COVID, or they were closed, really shut tight.
Yep.
And you were just doing whatever they said for you to be locked up in. But
Oh yeah, we
especially
didn't
over
have
in
it nearly
Australia,
as
we were
bad as you
locked up.
guys.
Sorry?
We didn't have it nearly as bad as you guys, but it was same here. Like I think that really started a big shift for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, massive, because you were told to like that your eyes were lying to you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what you see is like, that's not reality. Like, you're getting told another reality, and, agree with whatever, like, believe in whatever you want with the vaccines and all that. Like, I don't really care what anyone does. But when you're sort of getting stuff forced on you, and like, we're treating everyone the same, like, you can have diabetes and be unfit and elderly and have all these comorbidities. And since when do you go to the doctor and you're like, well, whatever the person before me, I'll just get what they get because we're all in the same boat.
Well, and that you weren't even allowed to ask questions. Like if you asked if you said, "Hey, I don't know about this," you
Hate speech.
as crazy or
and
like it was bad.
conspiracy theory, like if you just throw that on to anything, like then
Mhm.
you can just just plays down whatever you're trying
Yeah.
to learn or like think about. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, you're a conspiracy theorist. So, all right, then. But that there it did the opposite. For what they wanted, like it opened
Mhm.
so many people's eyes to like, you went from just believing mainstream media to like, well, I now know you lie. Like I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, it's not a
Wait,
political thing, but like I was watching, because with my work I was off, but Ashley, she still had to go to school and like at her workplace because they still had teachers at the schools. And I spent a day, didn't have much time, so I watched. I think Trump was in, and I watched the press conference at his, and at that time I was like, he's crazy. Although what he's posting now is probably like a little bit crazy too.
Yeah, he's
But
gone full swing.
yeah, back then he had a press conference, and this was the thing that really opened our eyes. Was I watched the whole lot, and then that night the mainstream media came on, and Ashley was there, and at that stage we were drinking, and we were drinking most nights because there was a lot of stress, and we're having a few wines, and I'm watching the news, and I'm like listening to what they said about his press conference. I'm like,
Mhm.
that wasn't what he said. I'm like, well, that's taken out of context. And Ash and I actually had an argument that night about it because I'm like, Trump he actually got taken out of context. Maybe whatever else he's saying is getting taken out of context too. So, and she's like, no, he's crazy. And
He's an idiot. Yeah.
yeah. And like, so then I got her that weekend, so we couldn't leave the house. Or if we left the house, it was like within 5 kilometers of your house. And so we sat down and watched another one of his press conferences. I'm like, sit down, watch the whole lot, and let's see how they report it. And that opened our eyes huge. And then like Black Lives Matter happened around the sort of
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, and then like the world was just going crazy. And then like I'm at the local football oval, and we were meant to wear masks while we're running. Crazy. And I wasn't, obviously. So I'm at the local football oval on my own, and we were trying to get a grant to redo the oval, which still hasn't been done. And there was an election coming up, and there was a local election, government one. Our premier came to the oval with the local member for that same party to take photos in front of the old grandstand area, and which was one of their election promises. So they came in the same car, no masks, with the photographer, came out, no masks. Then they put masks on, had their photo taken in front of the old club rooms. Then they took their masks off, chatting, went back in the car, left. And I'm like spewing because I'm running, like doing sprints. I'm like, I didn't have my phone on me. I wish I could have taken my like photos of this. Because then he's on a press conference that day, walks up to the press conference with his mask on, like takes it off, tells us we're all bad people. We need to smack and stay home for another week longer because someone's got a sneeze, they've sneezed would come down the
Yeah.
street, and like, and just from that, you just, well, we can't trust you, and that
Yeah.
led to like a lot of those people that were talking out. So like Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, a lot of like very popular people we started listening to, which we didn't listen to much before then. And the one thing that they all had in common, like Joe Rogan, he's on a process now that he's going to church, but you could see that that was happening with him. But then definitely
Yeah.
Russell Brand and
Yeah.
a lot of other conservatives, they all had faith. Like
Well,
they
it's
all
funny
had
because they weren't
good Christians.
conservatives before that. They were all
Yeah, I
liberals
know.
before that. Yeah.
Everybody swapped over, but they were all Christians, and that actually helped with this whole. Well, I do believe a lot of what they say, not everything, but I believe a lot of what they say, and I trust that they're critical thinkers, where a lot of people aren't critical thinkers. So
Yeah.
if they go to church and they're Christians and they're critical, I believe that they are critical thinkers. Well, they've obviously thought critical about the religion.
Yeah.
So once again, it's like an intellectual way of coming into Christ.
Yeah.
It's
It's
interesting. I think
interesting.
a lot of people was the same
Yeah,
boat.
I agree.
I mean, I'm in that boat for sure.
It happened to
Yeah,
you as well?
Hmm.
I changed a lot of views around that time for sure.
I mean, I had already had my kids at home and had my own thoughts on vaccines and all that stuff. But so you're just in the streets chanting "My body, my choice," so then I don't want to get a vaccine and I'm a murderer? Like, what about my body, my choice? And that for me is what started a big shift in the way I was like, wait a minute, are we just being played, or like, what is this all about? And kind of on a big trajectory of having my eyes open to a lot of things.
It was that time. Well, I got two more questions before we wrap up.
Yeah.
One, you think Ashley will come on and do an episode? I'd love to just hear her side of this.
Oh, I do not want to hear her side.
You don't have to listen.
No,
I mean, the lady is an angel. I've known her for a long time now.
she is.
And she went through so much in that time. Even regardless of that, she was always just different. She had no business hanging around with our crew, but she did.
I think she definitely would. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think it'd be good for her too, because like it's interesting. Like we've all got our own perspective of what we see, and yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I think it'd be good for her anyway to like have more of a voice and speak out, and yeah, no, I think she would.
And then actually maybe two more. One quick one. You mentioned talking to your mum a little bit about Nathan. Has that been a process for a long time, or is that new?
About like sort of, well, we don't. We were it was the conversation around Nathan was it was always open, um, and never hidden, but it's sort of also really not spoken about either. Um, so like it was good to bring it up. Well, one thing like when people ask me, uh, how many siblings have you got? Or like I generally answer, I've got two, or one
Yeah.
brother and one sister, because you don't like it's because people don't want to talk to you like for very long. It's like they're basic questions. And like if I say I've got two brothers and a sister, it's like, well, what's your other brother doing? And then it's like, how do you say that quickly? Oh, he passed away. So I think, yeah, it was good doing this having prep for this podcast. Mum and I were able to, we had about an hour's chat about it all. And I think she, once again, sort of like Ashley's very stoic, maybe would be a way to describe, but yeah, it's sort of like it's there, but we don't talk about it, and so it is a bit of a process. Yeah. was the process?
Yeah, because we were talking about, because I was texting you, and the reason I mention it is because it's just worth just a little touch points from God. But Crystal and I were talking about it, and she's like, let's get him to come on now. And I was asking you, like, when are you available? And she's like, get him now. And I was like, no, something doesn't feel right. Like God is telling me not right now. Like, it's not the right time. Like, this was when we were texting, whatever, 2 weeks ago. On Easter, yeah.
Easter for us, probably.
And Chris was like, but we got time. We could do it. And I was like, no, that like something's telling me that now's not the time. And then you texted me the next day and you said, I talked to my mum for an hour about Nathan last night. And I just had this like moment that God just needed that conversation to take place. And I just felt if this podcast does nothing else, like I'd be happy with that result.
It was also, you're right in that as well, because I got to talk to Mum for that hour, and Ashley and I debriefed this 2 nights ago. We in preparation, because so much of what happened for both of us, it's trauma. Like it's like we went through the trauma of like my brother dying, the girl, and some other deaths and stuff. But that whole period of time was trauma for Ashley and I.
And the family.
And we've hidden that as well a bit. We bring it up when we laugh, because we're sort of that sort of family. Like if you don't laugh, you cry. And we've done a lot of crying over the years. And we rehashed a couple of nights ago. We spent a bit of time before church on Friday night. So we go to church Friday night as well.
Nice.
And before that, Ash and I pulled out all my IME reports from the independent medical examinations, and we were reading them and like bringing back those memories. And I've actually got to ask Ashley a bit more of like what was her perception of what was going on, and then I would talk through mine, and that helped a lot. And like I said, like that was only just Friday. Like it's one of those wounds that I don't think we haven't opened that wound up enough yet. Just within our marriage, it's like, while things are good, it's like let's just keep them going, because it was tough. Like I said, like I've only mentioned some of the stuff that happened over those 2 years. Like it got worse. And she put up with a whole lot. Like your interview with her will be, it'd be probably open up a lot of wounds for her to rehash, I would say, but more than my wounds.
Well, I can just say, like, what an honor it was to listen to your story and to witness that, and that you chose to share it with us. It's so hard to talk about the things that we struggle or have struggled with or have shame around or guilt or whatever it is. And it's just such an honor. Just thank you for trusting us with that too. I wish I could give you the biggest hug in the world right now.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I think it's hard because so much happened, and to get it all, like to get some of the stuff in, but to have that time, like we've on recording, so 2 hours and 45 minutes of recording, it's that long form. It's good. Like, people, don't know how many people listen, but even just like it's like a therapy session in a way, isn't it? You get it off your chest.
It really is. And
so I should be charging you guys. I should be paying you guys, man.
God. No,
you should be
it's
charging
all
me.
God. It's I don't know why God took Nathan, but he needed Nathan in heaven, I don't know why my oldest daughter didn't get taken to heaven when she should have been a couple of times. Like, I don't begin to know those plans, but
he's writing a story we can't understand right now. And it'll be when we finally see the end chapter, it'll be like, oh man, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll be so cool. It's hard for me to comprehend that we grew up, 2 guys in just a small little town, so close our whole lives. You believing in God, me believing in God. My my testimony hasn't come out yet, but when you see it, like my whole life, I prayed to God every single night, and we never spoke once about it because of the environment we grew up in and what a different world it could have been, but it's not our story. But yeah, if we had have known that at the time, it could be a different world.
That wasn't God's plan.
Not at all.
No, you don't know who you're helping, do you? Like, you've got to go through some stuff. Like, I think people bond over the hard times and the imperfections. Like, I've helped people since. So when I came over to Perth, I did a bit of peer support, and I helped a couple of people, but one that he thanked me for saving his life. Like, we went for a walk and like got his family together, and like I was able to talk, and I understood a lot of what he was going through with PTSD, and it's like, you can't help people if you haven't gone through that.
That's
And those,
Help them if you're not open and honest and vulnerable about it either.
yeah. And how do you help those that like haven't grown up with faith and Christianity? Like, because when you haven't grown up in a Christian household and you've come later on in life, you bring people that have gone through similar situations, like that they respond better to that. When you hear someone's testimony and they're like, "Oh, I grew up in a Christian household. We went to church, and Sunday was always just church. It was never anything else." And it's very hard to go to feel connected with that person on the same level. So it's like, I feel like we're all out there on different, like on our journey, and what we think that a journey is, he's got other things in that's their plan, and you're there to help others now, aren't you? Like, you're there to serve others, you're there to plant the seed for others, and now it's our turn to like give back to all those things that helped us. There's like
that grace that he gave us that we didn't deserve.
That too, of like, we're the muddy sheep, like, and that's who we relate to, and where like it's a different level than that. There's so much beauty in having grown up in a Christian home and been a part of this, but that's not necessarily our stories, and I think it's so helpful to share the like messiness of
that straight raw testimony of someone that's been through it.
Yeah. So,
what would you say to somebody who believes there's more, even believes in God, but doesn't either know where to turn or just doesn't believe in going to a church? What would be your advice?
It's a hard one. So if they have faith and they do believe in God, and they're praying, it's obviously best to share that with others and like being that community and part of the church, and so that's important with your journey through faith, and it strengthens your faith, definitely. Like, doing it on your own is very difficult. It's hard to say how to get them to church, but it's like, yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, it's just like your eyes are open when you go there. Your eyes open, you find you might not find, like, I think you guys found your church straight away. Like, you went to the church and you're like, this is our church. We didn't. It's been a long process to get to the church that we're at now. Like, go to different churches. They're super welcoming, and like, you'll eventually find one that's home. And then once that's your home, that's your place, and that's where you belong, and that's where the growth comes from, because you're probably limited in your growth if you're just doing the journey on your own as well.
It's meant to be done in community.
Yeah, and I think we will share this too. I mean, because people know you and they know me, they'll listen to this just because of that. And so there will be seeds of God planted in there somewhere. I should have broke some more scripture into it. But yeah, they will listen to it just out of the fact that they know us. It'll be interesting to see where that leads.
Yeah, it's scary as well.
But yeah, maybe not for me. This one will be for you.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
like your
that's all right.
big coming out. We faced that fear in the first episode of the podcast came out. It was pretty
Yeah, it's
rough,
a rough
but
start. Jumped on
it's
and
been
panic
beautiful.
attack, but that's real life, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah,
just
that's the rawness of it all. I love that.
Okay. Well, I have one question, then we
yep.
can be done because it's dinner time. Favorite worship song right now?
Oh, I was gonna write some down because I said this to Ashley yesterday. I should write down what song. There's one. Is it something with like a million or a billion people?
Yeah,
So am I. Is that the name of the song?
I don't know,
I don't
but
know.
I'll listen to it.
But then,
I'll check it out.
anything with Jervis Campbell is really good.
Huh.
Oceans is a great song.
Yeah, I like that. I know you like to read, so what about books? What about Christian books? What's your favorite?
Not reading, but listening to Mere Christianity is
Oh,
incredible.
yeah,
I
it's
did that
good.
twice. Um, that was early on too. That would, I think would be a hard read. But listening to is incredible. Um, really, I just the Bible. For me, is
Good
like
answer.
Such a good
it's pretty
answer.
basic, but anything outside of that, because there's so much to read, and I'm still in the infancy of it. At the moment, I'm in John, going through John again. We're doing Bible studies through Matthew. So every night I'll just have the Kindle open and just go through, whatever I sort of feel like going through, within the Bible. But I haven't got
Yeah,
through the Bible enough yet to start on the
it's
health
tough.
book.
Takes a while.
Yeah.
I feel
Podcasts are
like
really
I
good,
was,
but
yeah, podcasts are good.
like,
You have favorites there?
so I enjoy the Bible in a Year with the Nikki and Pippa Gumble.
Uh-huh.
And because I work and I can listen to a lot of podcasts during the day, I try and I'll save up a few days of that so that I can listen to a few episodes in a row. Um, I like, what's his name? Like Life Church has got one that I sometimes listen to their sermon. Pastor Rick Warren
Oh,
he's
yeah.
really good. He has an episode every day, but his sermons will be over like a 3-part or 2-part episodes, like so that he can release them every day. But his wisdom is incredible. Um,
I have to check that one out.
Rick Warren,
Yeah, I haven't listened to his stuff, but I'll check it out.
it's really good. Like he breaks it down in a simple way to understand and always gives you stuff to work on as well. Um, yeah, his is really good. See you guys, and then was listening to John Bevere for a bit. His stuff is pretty good, but then I've sort of stopped. Um, yeah, I think that's in
Interesting.
wave.
Well, thanks for your time, man. It's been so good. It's so good just to catch up.
No, thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Well, and I have so many questions about whether Aaron was as big of a rascal as he claims to be when you guys were young, but we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, then the stress can be on you again.
My testimony comes out, yeah, probably in a few weeks. So that one will
Oh,
be out there
nice.
pretty raw as well.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well,
so sweet. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for that.
happy Sunday, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to see you. Bye.